Okay. Mute. There we go. And share my screen. I see names, which is good. So those of you that are getting extra credit, as long as I can see your names, that's awesome. Then I can make sure to get you credit as well. All right, great. Share my screen. Here is the agenda for today. Well, this week, usually I use all of the categories for suggestions from members from previous months. And we'll start off with a suggestion from attendees from the previous month. And I thought it was a pretty interesting topic that we actually hadn't explored before, which are banks for college students. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen for us. There we go. And as long as I have your email address, which obviously I do since you're here through the link, you'll get the handouts as well. So to preface this topic of banks for college students, I want to say that the first place you should probably look for a bank, whether you're a college student or not, versus the big commercial banks, and I'll pretty much go over why, is take a look at credit unions, whether it's Navy Federal Credit Union or Community First, or and there's several in town, probably more than I even heard of. So especially if you have a credit union that is affiliated with your particular profession, then I highly encourage you to take a look there first. Because generally you get the advantage of actually going to a physical bank. So you get that personalized customer service, which is nice, versus a virtual financial institution. Usually local banks have more ATMs available that are close to you. The minimum balances to even open up an account are always more advantageous. I mean, you see a lot of the commercial banks, they may have $200 minimum to open an account, or you have to have so many dollars coming in through direct deposit, or you have to maintain maybe even 1,000 or more minimum balance at all times. And that's money that's stuck there that you can't spend, else you get penalized for it. So for credit unions that I've had for decades, generally it takes usually just $5 just to open up an account. So and sometimes interest rates are higher if you are saving, interest rates are lower if you're borrowing money. And like a commercial bank, you also get account protection as well. So that same $250,000 of account protection, you get it through the NCUA, National Credit Union Association, which is actually a federal agency that helps protect your assets at a credit union financial institution. So what I did, though, I did some homework on some, I guess, pretty good financial institutions, both virtual, online, and physical banks that offer some good deals for college students. So first of all, there's Chime. And this one's a mobile bank only, so they don't have any physical locations. The no maintenance fees is nice. They offer a high interest rate on deposits. So again, in my savings account, in my credit union, and I still love credit unions, I'm just getting a fraction of a percent there. But again, it's a place to park my money. But if you have to park your money, 2% interest or more is pretty nice. ATMs are fee-free. Money transfers are easy and free on Chime, because again, it is a virtual financial institution. No fees, savings tools, compatibility. The cons: no physical branches, limited mobile check deposit options. There is the famous Chime app, and I have had students actually use it and give some pretty good reviews on it. The app itself has mobile check deposit, online bill pay, instant transfers, fee-free ATMs, which is great. Two-factor authentication, which is very good, and that's important. Whenever you use digital online banking, you need those protections, because I've personally seen accounts, especially peer-to-peer transfer apps, hacked too easily. Next one, I think the next three are your big commercial banks. So we'll start with Chase. Chase actually has physical branches that you can go to, which is nice, in case you need those types of personal services. They have sign-up bonuses for students ages 17 to 24. There are conditions, though. When we had the daytime meeting at Kent campus today, one of the folks in the room said they used Chase's checking account incentives, and I think they gave like a pretty nice incentive. I think either $200 or $400 to open an account, but there is a large minimum balance that you have to have in order to keep the sign-in bonus. No fees for 5 years during your college career, so that's not too bad. Then, unfortunately, it reverts to a monthly fee after graduation. And again, this is one of the things I don't like about commercial banks. You do have that large minimum balance. So that cash is tied up if you have one of commercial banks. What about the apps? All right, so the Chase app, they have quick deposit, account alerts, auto save, credit score monitoring through something called Chase Credit Journey, and then Zelle app. However, and I put this in the handout in bold print, and I'm doing this multiple times to warn you. If you listen to some personal finance gurus online or on the radio, like I do, I almost signed for Chase, but the maintaining was deal breaker. Yeah, I agree, Nikki. It's too big for me, even with the incentive. I think I actually signed up for, and this was maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, with First Florida, I think, and they gave me a $200 bonus, but the minimum was like $600 in the checking account through direct deposit. And so I had that account actually for a few years. I closed it last year, but I was in it long enough for the $200 bonus. But that high maintenance balance, and again, this is one of the big drawbacks with the big commercial banks. The conditions are pretty hardy, unfortunately. Back to Zelle, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, which is a federal government agency, they actually filed a class action lawsuit a few months ago against Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, any of the big commercial banks that actually use Zelle. And the reason why is because they don't offer fraud protection if you authorize payments, especially if you've been scammed through Zelle. So one thing that a lot of personal finance gurus advise is, if you have Zelle activated, if you are with the big commercial banks, deactivate it and use a better payment service app other than Zelle, just because it's a very popular target for scammers, unfortunately. All right, Bank of America student account. No overdraft fees. They also offer a bonus, but it's probably a higher minimum balance. Large access to a network of ATMs and branches. Again, there are Bank of America branches. I've seen them physically throughout town and in major cities. So that's a nice plus. No overdraft fees, but there is a monthly maintenance fee unless you're enrolled in some preferred rewards program. I don't know if this preferred rewards program is free or not, so I didn't quite do the research on the rewards program. The app, nice app, has mobile. It does have mobile check deposit, which is really convenient, so you don't have to go to the physical branches. Budgeting tools, account alerts. You can actually lock and unlock your debit card, which is pretty nice. But again, my warning here in bold print, you watch out for Zelle. I wouldn't use it just because it doesn't have that fraud protection. Next one is another commercial bank, Wells Fargo Checking. They do have a lot of physical branches as well. No monthly fees for students age 17 to 24. A lot of ATMs and branches, physical branches around the country, so that's nice. No monthly fees, so that's nice. They do have mobile banking options, and unfortunately, they limit the fee waivers after you graduate. So after you graduate, you're back to being a regular customer. They offer mobile check deposits, so that's nice on the app. Digital wallets. They have a virtual assistant, which is kind of nice. It's probably AI driven, I would guess. And again, and Wells Fargo is probably one of the biggest ones that were part of the lawsuit with Zelle, actually, that I heard on the news. So again, be careful or deactivate it if you happen to have that. The last one is not one of the big commercial banks, but it is one of the large American financial institutions, and that's Discover. So Discover's always been known as their shtick to have cash back on your card purchases. So that's not too bad. No monthly fees, which is also a plus. They have fee-free ATMs. No physical branches though. So like Chime, Discover is an online only. The app is nice. They also have the mobile check deposit feature, bill pay, digital account management. But again, they also use Zelle as their peer-to-peer transfer service. So again, just beware that that is one of the apps that has been flagged as concerning to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. All right. So any questions on that? Feel free to chime in. I'm in the Deerwood smart classroom, so I don't know if the microphones are on in here for me to hear you, but feel free, just like Nikki, just to type in anything in the chat box, and I can see the chat box. All right. Well, let me go on to the next topic for us. And I really like this category just because of, for me personally, it's my favorite way of making money while I sleep or play video games. So dividends is, again, my favorite. There's nothing like passive income. And as I was talking about in the daytime meeting today, basically I put as much money into passive income every week as possible. Basically, I like having money work for me instead of me working for my money. And that's probably the fastest way that you can achieve what I call true wealth or financial freedom. The ability to be able to choose what you want to do or how you spend your time. Because if you think about it, what is our most valuable resource? It's our time. It's not money, it's not assets or gold or stocks. Our most valuable asset that we have is actually time, and we lose it every second. We spend time commuting. We trade our time. If you think about a job, all our jobs, including mine, we basically are trading our time for money. We get money, but then do we spend it on things, or do we do what I try to do every week and try to buy back some one time? So when I have extra money, and I do a ton of side gigs as well, in addition to my job, I put 100% of that money back into trying to buy back my time. In other words, I put it into assets that will give me more money to replace my salary, so I don't have to trade as much time for my salary in the near future. And then all that income from all of my investments, I plow right back into buying more investments. So I've actually got a little calendar on my smart device where it says all the stocks and ETFs that pay me in the first week of the month, I'll actually buy shares of stock that will pay me in the next week of the month. And then all of my cash that I get in week 2, will buy shares of stock in week 3, the week before I get paid. So basically, I am enhancing that snowball effect every week. And those of you that actually take my class before, I always tout the magic of compounding. So I'm accelerating compounding by buying stocks with the money from my stocks every single week. And so that's how I can buy my time back, hopefully, and in the very near future. Actually, it'd be pretty in the near future, actually. So since I've already bought my tickets and set up all of my shelter this summer as of July 1st. So how do we do this over time, pay ourselves each week with stocks that aren't actually designed to pay us every week? Well, if you do some homework, and I've done some homework for you, you can actually do that with stocks that only pay you once a quarter. Hey, come on in. There's a sign-in sheet on the back table, and I have all the handouts that I've been going over right there for you. So every single week, I have stocks and ETFs that will either pay me monthly or weekly, but then there's certain days of the week that they will pay, and I have a calendar of when they'll pay me. But if you want to invest in companies you've probably heard of, where they only pay you once a quarter, you can actually set it up to buy those shares to artificially create a paycheck for yourself once a week. So I put together just a list of 12, and there's hundreds of stocks out there, by the way, that pay you in different weeks, different months of the year that you could probably put together yourself, like your Microsoft or Meta starts to pay dividends now. Alphabet started paying dividends now. There's Lowe's and Home Depot and Johnson & Johnson. There's a lot of different kinds, but as an example of how you can do this yourself, you can actually look to see on a calendar when companies will pay you shares of stock. For example, here's 2, and I'm sure we've probably heard of these. We've heard of Walmart. So Walmart, when they pay a dividend, they pay you usually in the first week of the calendar week of the month. And then Kimberly-Clark, we've probably heard them, big paper company, and they make like toilet paper and Kleenex and paper products we've always heard about. So they also pay on the first week of the month. Then on the second week of the month, there's AT&T. So big company, we've probably heard of them. I used to have a lot of shares in AT&T because I used to work there. Actually, I signed up for an employee program where I have part of my paycheck would go to buy AT&T shares. And if you're an employee, you get a 15% discount on buying the shares. So I accumulated those. I don't own the shares anymore because I actually sold all my AT&T shares as a down payment for my first condo when I was still a young working person. So, but AT&T, at least on paper, has a strong dividend. They pay a higher dividend than a lot of stocks. I think about 6% dividend, which is pretty nice. So probably better than your savings account at work. So good telecommunications company. The Blackstone Group, big financial institution. It's an investment firm. They pay usually in the second week of the month. And then the third week of the month, so going down the month, if you want to get paid each week, there's Pfizer. Probably heard of Pfizer, big pharmaceutical company. Make a lot of money from Viagra, probably. Johnson & Johnson, big cleaning company. They have Johnson & Johnson cleaning products. They got a lot of pharmaceuticals. So if you have stuff for babies, baby shampoo or toothpaste or cleaning products, soaps, Johnson & Johnson, they're probably not going to go out of business anytime soon. So very long history of consistently not only paying dividends, but actually increasing the amount of dividends that they pay you each year. So they give you a raise each year. So they pay on the third week of the month. Fourth week, Apple, probably one of my favorite stocks in my portfolio. So I've owned, actually Apple's probably a big chunk of my portfolio, although I'm planning to sell most of mine in the next few months of my Apple shares. Not for a bad reason, just for cash. I want to get some cash. Again, they're one of the top 3 largest companies in the world. So they can afford to pay you the dividends. The dividend percentage rate is low, but I think they pay like a $2 and something cent per share. I mean, pretty nice dividend per share. Caterpillar, very large construction machinery company. So they fall into the industrials category. So if you ever see construction sites or roads built, a lot of the big shovels and dump trucks and stuff like they're probably manufactured by Caterpillar. Fifth week of the month. If you have a ladder fifth week, there's some months of the year that have that. Cisco Systems, big network device company. So they've been around for decades. Simon Property Group. So real estate investment trust. So this is a company or a type of company where the IRS requires them to pay at least 90% of their dividends back to the shareholder. So the dividend rates are pretty high. Pretty much all real estate investment trust companies pay high dividends because they are required to get a tax break. Simon Property Group, they own a lot of commercial properties. And as a matter of fact, I believe the Avenues Mall, just down the road, actually is a Simon property as well. Altria Group, I didn't see which week of the month they actually paid, but Altria Group is probably one of the best dividend reinvestment companies in history. And just from my own personal experience, when the first stock I ever bought was Microsoft, and when Microsoft paid dividends for the first time ever in the 2000s, I got a nice check in the mail for $480. That's based on the number of shares I had, and it was given or mailed in December because they did such a good year with income and cash flow. They wanted to reward the shareholders. So despite my temptation on wanting to buy an Xbox with that free money, I did not, but I decided to Google, well, what company has given the best return on reinvested dividends in history? And this name kept on coming up, Altria Corporation. So most of you may not have heard of the company Altria, but you've probably heard of two of their, at least at the time, their biggest selling products. Two of their biggest selling products when they were the big conglomerate was Kraft macaroni and cheese and Marlboro cigarettes. So again, they were huge conglomerate, but long story short, they decided to break up their companies. So they sold all the food business, and so I got shares of Kraft when they split that. And then the cigarette business, they decided to split it into two companies, Altria Group and Philip Morris International, for their international cigarette business, because less and less Americans smoke each year. But overseas in Asia and Europe, a lot of people still smoke. So they still have a big market there. WP Carey, which again, not as many people might not be familiar with, but it's another real estate investment trust. Basically, they manage either properties or mortgages, and the income generated from those lease payments or rent payments, they give back to you, the investor, in the form of dividends. So we can actually artificially create your own paycheck as a steady stream of income on a weekly basis. Now, what if you want to get paid every month and every week? Well, again, this is not all inclusive. You can actually look for a lot of different companies and cover every month of the year. So here's how I did that with each of these 12 example companies. So Kimberly-Clark, they pay in January, April, July, and October, every 3 months. So, and then we know which week that they pay. So Kimberly-Clark pays on the first week of the month of January, April, June, and September. Then, I'm sorry, I skipped Walmart. That's Walmart in the first week. Kimberly-Clark in the first week, so January, April, July, and October. So now we got June, July, September, October covered, and January and April. And then the Blackstone Group and AT&T, Blackstone and AT&T, they pay in the second week of the month, and you'll get those middle of the month payments in February, May, August, and November. So now we've got January, February, April, May, July, August, October, and November covered. And then we've got Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. So Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, they pay on the third week of the month. So now we've got a weekly paycheck coming in the third week of the month for, let's see. So Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, we've got March, June, September, and December covered. So we've got most of the year covered so far. Apple, so Apple is going to pay and Caterpillar are going to pay in the fourth week of the month. So Apple and Caterpillar, February, May, August, and November are going to be covered. And then to round out the year, let's see, we've got Cisco Systems in the fourth week, January, April, July, and October. And then Simon Property, now here's your March and June, September, and December. And then these are the last coverages, January, April, July, and October from both Altria and WP Carey. So it's a pretty neat system. Another thing that I want to add that I didn't mention in the daytime meeting, and I'm going to pull up the internet here. So let's go to Google. And a couple of things I suggest looking up in Google are these two terms, dividend kings. So when you pull up dividend kings, and I'm going to make this a little bigger. Molly Fool's a great personal finance education site, by the way. So these are the dividend kings for this year, 2025. It's an exclusive list. And what's really cool about the Dividend Kings list, and make this a little bigger, there we go. And that these are companies that have not only paid a dividend every year, but have raised their dividends every year for at least 50 years straight. So for 50 years, they have given you a raise on the dividends. And the reason why this is really important is that if you buy shares of this stock and they continue being on this list, based on your cost basis, that percentage of interest that you're getting from the dividends is going to go up every single year. So based on my cost basis for what I paid for Microsoft stock, when I bought it, I paid about $150 a share, which is not cheap per share. I was working part-time at night, still a student in school. And I bought my first 10 shares for $1,500. But again, never let the price of a stock deter you from buying a quality company. Because I'd rather buy shares of company like just 10 shares of company like Microsoft for $150 each than 1,000 shares of some penny stock that becomes worthless in a few years or a few weeks actually, and you lose your money and you can't sleep well at night because you're not sure if it's going to be worth anything. So because I bought those shares of Microsoft and they raised the dividends each year and the share price split multiple times since I bought it, I'm getting effectively about a 25% dividend, annual dividend each year on my Microsoft stock. And that's why it's so important. If you're looking at companies that pay dividends to put in your portfolio, take a good hard look at ones that give you a raise every year. So a lot of these you may have heard of. Genuine Parts, here's Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson is the dividend king. So again, 50 years straight. Let's see, Hormel Foods. Hey, I like Hormel chili and corned beef hash. So again, these don't have to be sexy companies. These are companies that will make money year over year over year. Notice there's a lot of utilities here. Have you seen Tesla and Nvidia went down like we? Yes, since I own both, I have. But it hasn't changed fundamentally why I still like to own those stocks. I have not added to my Tesla position, but I actually had added to my Nvidia position over the last few years. Nvidia is actually my largest position right now. And because of the news about a month and a half ago with China's DeepSeek, that was one of the reasons why Nvidia stock has dropped. But because NVIDIA's new Blackwell chips have such high orders for those new chips, the next generation chips. And their earnings hopefully will be coming up within the next month, and hopefully with some good news about their revenue growth. NVIDIA's stock actually is a pretty good buy right now, I think. And I have a trade in NVIDIA now, short-term trade in it. But the shares itself, I'm not going to sell my NVIDIA shares anytime soon. I'm going to let it grow. And it's grown so much over the last few years. I mean, the price right now is actually kind of a bargain, I think, for NVIDIA. Tesla has gone down about 40% since its high in January. But despite the drop last week, if you've noticed the last at least 3 trading sessions, Tesla's skyrocketed because there's something just called reversion to the mean statistically. So there comes a point where investors see a stock become low enough where it becomes attractive again to buy. So Tesla's been attractive again to buy, which is why it's gone up by double digits just over the past 3 trading sessions. Will it get back to where it was in January? Probably not yet until their next earnings report. But yeah, I kind of had a feeling Tesla would recover quite a bit. Funny, this one actually surprised me. Tootsie Roll is on this list. Black & Decker, there's Altria. They're still on the list. Grainger, Target. Wow, Target's in there. Walmart and Lowe's, Pepsi. So a lot of very familiar names on this very exclusive list. Now, the other thing that you want to Google related to this is called Dividend Aristocrats. And Dividend Aristocrats is another exclusive list. Let's see, where is, I guess we'll just use Wikipedia's list. I don't know if it's the most up to date, but it is a larger list. And similar to the Dividend Kings, the Dividend Aristocrats are companies that have given consecutive year raises in their dividends, but for at least 25 years straight. So they haven't quite reached the Kings ranking yet, but they're on their way. So 25 years straight. Aflac is in there. Some other ones that we've seen. Caterpillar's on the list. Chevron, Church and Dwight. That's actually they make a lot of consumer goods you've probably heard of. Clorox. There's Coca-Cola again. Colgate. Let's see some other. ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil has a pretty nice dividend. I owned shares of those for a while. IBM, very well-known name. There's McDonald's. McDonald's is a dividend aristocrat. PepsiCo, of course, is on there. This one is unique to all of the dividend aristocrats. This one right here. The reason why I'm singling out Realty Income Corporation is that unlike all these other ones on the list, Realty Income, ticker symbol O, which is pretty easy to remember, they actually pay their dividends on a monthly basis. So that's pretty convenient if you want to compound your growth a little quicker. So as a matter of fact, their nickname of the company is called the Monthly Dividend Company. So instead of getting paid once a quarter like all these other ones, Realty Income automatically pays you once a month anyway. Then if you want to make your put it on your weekly paycheck design, you just have to figure out what week of the month that they pay you. There's Sherwin-Williams, S&P Global, there's Target again, Grainger, Walmart. So a lot of familiar names. Again, when you're investing for stock, you don't have to go for the sexiest tech stock name out there, like say a Tesla, for example. You can actually invest very well in companies that make pretty ordinary products, like Colgate toothpaste, or Hormel that makes chili, or if you like shopping at Target or Walmart, those are dividend aristocrats too, and they pay pretty decent dividend. I think actually Realty Income Corporation, I think their dividend is, at least relative to the market, is pretty decent. Let me go to Yahoo Finance and just look it up. Those of you that are in my class, you always know that Yahoo Finance is always pretty user-friendly. So Just go into the little quote box here. Let's put O for the ticker symbol of Realty Income Corporation, and we can see what their dividend yield is. By the way, when you look up the dividend on stocks that you're interested in buying, look at the yield rather than the dollar amount. It's going to be the dollar amount may look big, but it may be a little misleading. So yes, you get paid $3.22 per share for every share you own, and that's a pretty nice dividend actually. But it translates, and that's not too bad of a dividend rate actually either. So 5.72%. And how do we calculate that, by the way? Basically, this is basically the dividend divided by what the stock price is. So it may change every day. So that 5% that you're earning by owning Realty Income, it's basically $3.22 divided by 55 bucks. So you're going to get a nice dividend, and it's actually a nice competitive rate versus, say, what you're getting on your savings account. You always want to earn a rate of return greater than inflation, because if you put it in something like money market account or savings account, yes, that is a good place to park the cash you'll need to spend in the next 12 months or for emergencies. But if you want your money to buy the same amount of stuff in the next 5 to 10 years, that's not a good place to park it, because inflation is going to eat you alive. Again, Apple, they pay a nice dividend dollar-wise, but so they pay, actually, Apple's not as big as I thought. So Apple pays you $1 per share dividend, which is great. I own a lot of shares of Apple, and I like the free dollar per share because, again, it's free money. So, but the yield is only 0.45. It's not going to be a sexy rate. But the reason why investors like me I'm not concerned about that low rate is because of total return. So the total return of my investment is going to be comprised of both the income and the stock price. So even though this yield, by the way, is a function of the stock price, the higher the stock price of my Apple shares go up, the lower this number goes, unless the board of directors decides to raise the dividend. If the dividend stays about the same, but the stock price goes up, then this yield is going to always be pretty low. But I'm totally okay with it, because if my stock goes from 223 bucks to 500 bucks per share in the next 10 years, I don't think I'll give a crap about that I'm only earning 1% on my money. Now, that being said, if you own a stock that really doesn't do much in terms of the share price going up, then you can balance that out by having a higher yield. For example, let's take a look at AT&T, which was on the handout. AT&T, it's not a sexy stock in terms of share price by any means. So if you look at the last 52 weeks, somewhere between $15 and $27 a share. Again, it's actually on the high end of over the year. So it's actually done well over the year, but its yield is 4%. That's a decent yield. So $1.11 per share. I mean, again, better than Apple's, but again, that's because AT&T shares are a lot cheaper than Apple's. You could buy a lot more. So one thing you don't want to fall under a trap of is chasing yield. Let me try to think of a stock that has a high yield, but let's see. Is Netflix worth investing in? Yeah, actually, I highly say yes. As a matter of fact, for the last 3 years, I've been putting about $100 a month into Amazon and Alphabet, but just last month, I decided to switch my $100 a month into Netflix and Meta. And putting my money where my mouth is, yeah, I think in terms of stocks, I'm putting my cash in for dollar cost averaging that I don't have to babysit. Yes, Netflix and Meta are my top two right now. So I'm putting my cash into Netflix and Meta until something changes. So Netflix, both Netflix and Meta are not cheap. But again, it proves my point that you should never let the price of a stock turn you away from buying a quality company that can make you wealthy. So Netflix, it's almost $1,000 a share, which is not the cheapest stock, but I don't care because even though I buy a piece of Netflix every single month, eventually those pieces are going to be whole pieces. Yeah. So the best benefit of this dollar cost averaging strategy, where around the same time each month, I put the same dollar amount each month. If the stock is up that month, then I buy less shares when they're expensive. If the stock is down, that's great because I get to buy more shares or bigger pieces when it's cheaper. So when the market corrected for 5 weeks for most of February, and I was buying Netflix when I get my paycheck at the first week of the month, then I got to buy more pieces of Netflix with my $100 bigger pieces when Netflix was $950 a share. And a month later, it's already up to $997. So when I have my next paycheck in April, and then I'm gonna be buying Netflix again. I guarantee I'll be buying Netflix again. It may be more expensive, but as long as nothing has fundamentally changed about why I like Netflix, I'm still going to keep on buying Netflix. And Meta is my other one that I buy and not have to babysit. Meta, Meta was close to $700, $800 a month ago. And with the market correction over the past month, it's dropped, but it's creeping back up. So Meta has been a good buy. As a matter of fact, of the Magnificent Seven stocks, that's a nickname for the big boys that are supposed to be the biggest companies that drive the market. We're talking about Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Tesla, Meta, and NVIDIA. Magnificent Seven. Of those seven, six of them have lost money in 2025. Meta was the only one of the six that actually whose stock actually is in the green in 2025, which is why I picked Meta. And oddly enough, Netflix is not part of the Magnificent Seven, although I consider it a better investment than Tesla right now, even though I own Tesla. So I would consider Netflix a better replacement for Tesla in the Magnificent Seven, and I'm buying shares of Netflix right now. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Nikki. So Netflix is a great buy. And the reason why, from a fundamental standpoint, they have more cash to produce shows than any other streaming service. And yeah, there is only one main competitor in terms of streaming content, and that's Disney. But even Disney is not producing the content volume of shows globally, because again, they have international shows on Netflix too, that Disney can't compete with that. Netflix is just too big, and I'm putting my money with the front runner. And until Apple or Amazon Prime or MGM or Paramount or Peacock or any of those streaming services can prove to me that they could be competitive with Netflix, which I don't think they can, nor do they have the resources to. Netflix has just been in the game too long. They're way too big. And now they have gaming too. Netflix is going to dominate streaming for a while. I'm going to put my money with the leader right now. So Netflix is great. Plus, I am secretly hoping, actually, that since Netflix is reaching $1,000 a share, I'm secretly hoping that they split their stock, so I can get more. I can get more shares. Yeah. So if the board of directors feel that Netflix stock is too expensive for investors, maybe they might split it at some point. So I remember back in 2014, Alphabet and let's see, it was Google and Amazon surprised investors by declaring a 10-for-1 stock split. So they split their stock 10 shares for one, which was huge at the time. But Netflix might be a good candidate for that. Actually, I think Meta might be a good candidate for a split a few years, short years down the road too, if they approach $1,000, because Meta's going to be at 700 at some point, maybe by the end of this year. Netflix, I'd be surprised if it was still at $1,000 by the end of this year. It should be more. So at the rate it's going. So yeah, I really like Netflix. Before we head out, we will be heading out early. We covered both of my topics. Are there any topics that you guys want to talk about next month? Because again, our meetings are always member driven. So I usually always like to let the students pick the topics, and I'll write them in my little notepad here for ideas. Feel free to put it in the chat as well. I still have a few ideas from last month. ETF versus index. Oh, that is a great one. I like that. Let me write that down. Yeah, because index versus ETFs. And there's pros and cons for both. Yeah, I could definitely do a paper on that. Can we talk about the difference of options, shares, and ETFs and ETP? Yes. So let me options. Options has been a popular topic the last 3 months, as a matter of fact. Yeah, the last 2 meetings we've had, or 3 meetings, I think we had some options talk. But so options versus shares versus ETFs. Yeah. So what I can do is I could kind of define, give some examples, and especially the pros and cons. This just from my own personal standpoint, because I always love to share what I do personally with students. So every single first paycheck of the month, I'm buying stock. So so $100 into Netflix, $100 into Meta. But most of what I'm buying every single week, because I'm actually buying every week, and especially with all my side gig money and everything, is ETFs actually. So I have a little calendar, and I talked about this in the daytime meeting today too. So I have a little calendar in my notebook where all of the ETFs that pay me like in the first week of the month, I will use that cash to buy shares. Oh yeah, definitely. I did hit record. Yeah, I did. So to make it easy, I'm gonna post the recording or upload it into YouTube. Usually takes about a day for the video to render, but I'll email everybody the YouTube links just because it's easier than me sending the WebEx link, because WebEx will eventually erase the video. So, but YouTube won't. So I'll definitely do it. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. So so I'll take the cash I'll get every Friday in the first week of the month and use it to buy ETFs that pay me in week 2. And then I'll take my week 2 cash that I'll get on Fridays and buy shares of ETFs that will pay me in week 3 and so forth. So I accelerate that snowball effect on a weekly basis. In addition to that, if I have money left over from the cash that the ETFs give me, I'm buying stocks that pay me weekly anyway. So those will actually enhance. Katrina basically, it would be good to know what is better to buy during crisis, bonds or stocks, for example. That's a good question. Are the past videos on YouTube as well? Yes. I put it on my YouTube channel. I have a Professor Cat channel too, but I don't think there's anything on there yet. But yeah, whatever channel, I forget which one I posted to, but whatever channel I post the recordings to will have the past recordings of the past meetings on there as well. So yeah, definitely feel free to look at the different topics that we've talked about before. What's your YouTube channel? Let me see if I can pull it up actually. I'm gonna look it up because I'm definitely gonna fix or have the name a little more memorable, because once I start going on the road this summer, I'm going to be posting most of my videos on a main YouTube channel. Let's see. Whoop. I'm going to do that. Actually, let me use Google Chrome so I can use that to pull it up. And then I'll actually pull up the name for you. And I'll also type it in the chat box too. Let me see, what is my YouTube channel? Stupid verification, I guess I have to verify. Yes, I am signing in. Oh, yeah. Let's go to YouTube. What is my channel? Now, the channel I'm probably going to use once I start traveling may or may not be the same channel, but I think it's going to be a different channel. What is, let's mess up. Oh yeah, okay. This is not going to be my real channel, but it is a channel that I'm uploading the Moneymakers meetings on so far. There we go. I just typed it in the chat box. There we go. FinJake MLV. Those of you that used to watch the cartoon Adventure Time will get the reference, since I'm a big Adventure Time cartoon person. Oh, whoops, there we go. I'll put it up on the screen. Yeah, I accidentally clicked the button to hide that. Okay, there it is. So yeah, this is the FinJake MLV. The logo is my cat Steve. So now after I move in July, then I'll probably have a video channel, because I do a lot of TikTok too, but that's Professor Cat on TikTok. But I want to do like a finance TikTok on there at some point. But I'll probably put the same shorts and TikTok on YouTube. I don't think it'll be this channel. I want to actually make a separate channel for the finance stuff. So I'll probably migrate a lot of these into the finance channel. Of course, all the other stuff on here is just fun stuff like concerts and stuff. So since I already have this channel just for my own personal, this is where I've been uploading the Moneymakers Club stuff for now. But I'll probably have a real channel for those pretty soon. Actually, I should probably set that up at some point. But great suggestions, by the way, for topics for next month. Yeah, definitely got some food for thought. I even have the rooms booked. I decided to book the rooms for the rest of the season. So April's booked at Kent and Deerwood, and May is booked for Kent and Deerwood. And I'll make sure to post those as well. And then and that'll be it from me, at least for the in-person meetings. Yeah, because I've already got my tickets to fly out July 1st. So anything after that, I'll be posting on YouTube from my travels in whatever my new channel is going to be, which I don't know that it's going to be yet, but I'll make sure to set that out. The professor that's going to be taking over Investment Club, Dr. Natalie Walker, really nice lady. I'm going to share all of my files with her, and hopefully she'll be able to keep the club going. Can we talk about investor and research? Oh, yes. Let me add that. That's a great topic. Investing during a recession. Because we all feel what a recession feels like right now, don't we? Especially, it's worse because having a recession, feeling a recession during where inflation is still high is doubly frustrating and painful. Investing during a recession. Yes, as a matter of fact, I've been planning for that over the past year. Me and my best friend have been investing in what is called a inverse ETF, which basically goes up when tech stocks go down. So it goes in the opposite direction. So if there is a recession and the market, especially the tech stock market crashes, then yes, I'm going to be sad because all my other stocks will be crashing too. But this one ETF should hopefully explode in value and go in the opposite direction, which it's kind of like my hedge. It's doing poorly right now because the market's actually doing all right. But if there's a crash, then I'm hoping to make a lot of money by holding on to these shares in case the recession really gets worse. So, but yeah, investing in the recession and how to and what we can do to prepare for it is a great idea. So yeah, I think that's a great topic that we could talk about in a future meeting. All right. Well, we are actually finishing on time, but I appreciate everybody coming. And those of you that I know are in my class, when I review the video later, I'll be able to see your names and hopefully give you the extra credit as well. All right. Well, thanks for coming, and I will see you all next month or in class. Oh, thanks. Thanks. I'm glad you found it useful. Glad you came. Yeah, this is what our investment club meetings are every month. So hopefully you'll come back. Good night, everybody. Stay safe. Thank you. Thank you. See you on Friday.